So there's actually going to be a very, very big release to not do too much of an alpha leak, but there's been one consistent thing that all of us have been working on, heads down, relatively speaking, secretly for the entirety of 2022. That's slated to be announced and released for the next Cosmoverse conference.
Eric, welcome to the show. Today we will talk about Injective's involvement at Cosmoverse. But before we do that, again, welcome to the show. How are you doing?
Doing really great. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, 100%. And we are very excited to have you on board at Cosmoverse on September 26th, 27th, and 28th. And before we dive deeper into your involvement, before we dive deeper into what you want to announce or what you want to speak about at Cosmoverse, let us start talking about something, let's say a little bit broader. So you were also involved in Cosmoverse 2021, and a lot of things happened in the interchain. We also saw a bear market in between. So yeah, how are the things going at Adjective so far?
Yeah, it's going really great. During the last Cosmos I've took the opportunity to announce, Astro and also to announce the overall canonical chain launch. So that is certainly a very, very big thing to, set up a precedence on what should I do for this time. And hopefully I'm going to try to match that excitement, if not supersede it.
Yeah, 100%. We will talk about this more in depth in a second, but you mentioned that you attended Cosmoverse last year already. Back then, we set it up very, very spontaneously, and you were one of the early supporters back then already. This year, you are again one of the early supporters of the conference. So, could you talk a little bit about your experiences from last year?
I think overall, Cosmoverse is one of the most exciting conferences in general. Even when we first found out about it, um, I thought, and frankly, initially, that it was just going to be, like a small conference with a few Cosmos folks launching, because it was next to, like I believe Solana conference. But my expectation was completely blown away with the enthusiasm, with how much the Cosmos community and the ecosystem has evolved, and how everyone is coming together. Um, um, you know, for the conference and to all talking about exciting things. So now it's basically the number one spot in terms of conferences where I have to be there. I have to chat regardless of whether we support that conference or not.
Yeah, thank you so much, and very happy that you liked it so much. And I remember a conversation of ours at East Denver earlier this year. We talked a little bit about the Cosmos ecosystem in general, how it evolved throughout 2021 and also early 2022. And then in between, we saw these macroeconomic circumstances. Also, Cosmos suffered, and then we saw the Terra downfall, the Terra drama. We saw how Osmosis got exploited very briefly. So, could you talk a little bit about this? So, how you view the Cosmos ecosystem since our last conversation at East Denver?
Yeah, I feel like certainly it's part of the growing pain where the ecosystem is really showcasing their capabilities and their potential, but at the same time also demonstrating that this is a growing ecosystem. There are uh, kind of kinks to work out. There are growing pains. Um, at the same time, the overall ecosystem it showcases that's so big that you're going to see just like the broader industry sometimes unfortunate circumstances and sometimes mistakes. But I think this, as a matter of fact, the bright side from this and the powerful aspect of this, Cosmos ecosystem and fundamental infrastructure is that it did not create, spillover effect for the rest of the applications. Um, and also like zones and networks. It's creating basically this very robust, this very sustainable, and more importantly, this very isolated in terms of security and risk aspect environment where all the ecosystem projects can collaborate and can create strong synergy without having to have a crossed over risk from uh, every single individual security layer.
Yeah, basically what my key takeaway from this is that Cosmos is pretty resilient and that the infrastructure itself kept pretty or stayed very stable throughout these dramas. So what are you expecting for the rest of 2022 for the Cosmos ecosystem? Are there some launches or developments you're excited about? We saw also many positive things happening. So for example, DYDX decided to join the Interchain. Many former Terra projects are also coming to Cosmos now as an own customized blockchain. So what are your thoughts on this?
Oh my God, so much excitement. Well, for starters, one of the most exciting launch or release is coming up, and something that the Injective ecosystem is also going to, leverage heavily going forward is the shared security layer, and that's going to make, for example, Cosmos Hub, Atom. Um, Kind of this extremely robust, extremely secure service or security service provider for consumer chains, child chains, app chains. They're trying to bootstrap their validator based or economic their token economic without having to deal with or without having to go through a trouble of launching the full process of launching an L1, securing the validators, trying to make sure everything is economically secure for through proof of stake. So that's overall extremely exciting, and I think that's going to kind of catapult the Cosmos ecosystem to the next level. And on top of that, quite a few very exciting developments on the injective side, where recently there's been kind of like a flurry of government's proposals and deployments ever since the Cosmosm upgrade, and really looking forward to projects coming from all walks of life. And you just mentioned as well Terra ecosystem projects as well. Expanding to the multi-chain world and cross deploying into multiple Cosmos-based chains and creating this whole robust ecosystem where applications kind of understandably from the Terra incident wants to be in multiple ecosystem and multiple chains at the same time, and really strengthening and connecting their user base together without compromising even a single bit on user experience.
Yeah, that sounds exciting. And with all of these exciting things in mind, I mean, now you are like one of the largest supporters of Cosmoverse. So many people ask themselves, what are you dropping? Are there some announcements to be made? I mean, again, the booth will be much bigger. What can they learn about? So a small teaser, why should be people excited about Injective at Cosmoverse?
Yeah, so there's actually going to be a very, very big release. I think this kind of was hinted at, quite frankly, at the year-end review or like the year-end look back for 2021. And we were talking about some divisions and some of the work that the Injective Labs team started to kind of catapult the Injective ecosystem and fully leverage some of the primitive that the canonical chain has brought on that you know I announced during the last Cosmosverse. So to not uh, uh, do too much of an alpha leak, but there's been one consistent thing that all of us have been working on, heads down, relatively speaking, secretly for the entirety of 2022, that's slated to be announced and released for the next Cosmosverse conference. And we really want to take that opportunity, first of all, to show our support for how amazing the last Cosmosverse has been, and second of all, to showcase some of the first, if not one of the most monumental exploration and utilization of the primitive that we've been laying the groundwork for since canonical chain launch.
So we can expect some alpha coming from Injective this year.
Relatively speaking, yes. It's probably one of the most exciting launch since canonical. So Definitely a lot to look forward to, a lot to talk about, and overall, Injective as an ecosystem has really changed drastically since the last Cosmoverse. So we really want to showcase that and some of the bigger collaborations and some of the bigger ecosystem partners that are joining. We also want to highlight that as well. So that's why we're trying to take that as an opportunity to really showcase that to Cosmoverse and kind of demonstrate that to Injective's community member and the greater Cosmos community members on what Injective is up to and what are something to look forward to.
Yeah, sounds exciting. And besides just, I mean, you mentioned that a lot of things have changed at Injective. Also at Cosmoverse, some things changed, especially the location. Last year we hosted it in Lisbon. This year we will host it in Medellin, Colombia. So when you first heard about the location, what were you thinking about it? And besides, have you ever been to Colombia actually?
I haven't. We actually have quite a few friends who are Colombian, and they were extremely excited about more and more conferences hosting in Colombia as well. And I think that they've been trying to sell us on far before this. I think this is even like during COVID to go visit there to host a conference, and I'm sure like when if DEF CON announced that during COVID that they're going to do it in Colombia. That community over there has been like ecstatic and really glad to see more and more folks coming over to Colombia and hosting conferences and bringing the spotlight into this exciting region and this high growth region as well.
You, as a project founder, you mentioned it. There was a lot of excitement in Colombia because of DEF CON. So, how do you, as a founder and someone who may look for new people joining the project, how do you observe the developer market in Colombia?
I would say basically the beautiful thing about crypto and Cosmos community in particular is that it's a very much of a global kind of region agnostic and um, open source, open collaboration environment where everyone, it doesn't matter where you're located and where you're domiciled, can all collaborate to the same ecosystem, make just as much, if not more impact, no matter which region you're in. And by like one of the huge biases in Silicon Valley and also in the US in general is that they felt like most of the tech innovation and happening is being developed in California, San Francisco Bay Area in particular. But in reality, I think crypto has proved themselves time and time again that this is certainly not the case, and the most brilliant people are generally outside of that Silicon Valley bubble in a sense. And I really want this to be to be an opportunity to showcase Colombia and even the greater LATAM to be a very very strong to have a very very strong mind share and base for developers to work on the next exciting thing and to connect with like this global developer base to really build the next stage of innovation. In a sense, you know, in a relative sense, it's time to steal the spotlight from America and really showcase it to the rest of the world, and really highlights everyone who's like building this ecosystem, rather than just a few VCs in Sand Hill.
What a lovely way to wrap up this brief episode. Eric, thank you so much for joining. I'm very excited about Injective's involvement at Cosmoverse. And yeah, I guess I see you in Medellin.
See you too.